Carl Dymond announced ambitious plans nearly 3 years ago to take over the Stephenville Airport and make it a major economic driver in the region. That includes building a manufacturing facility for giant futuristic cargo drones, the return of scheduled passenger service as well, an investment of hundreds of millions in private cash, and the creation of thousands of jobs. He's owned the airport now for nearly a year, but none of those plans have materialized yet. And there are signs of financial problems there. A lien slapped on the airport for an unpaid bill of $2.4 million. CBC's Troy Turner spoke with Carl Dymond earlier this week about the status of his plans for the airport.
One of the things that we spoke about in the past, you had always talked about, investments into the airport. So specifically, I guess, what are these investments and what projects are you working on?
So this is a UK investor we have coming in for a minority stake in our business. In Europe, private airport ownership is quite common. So for us, we're the first ones to own a private international airport in Canada. So the fundraising has been difficult in that regard, but we found someone who understands the space that we're in.
Who are the investors that you have secured?
It's a UK investor. I haven't asked him if I can disclose his name yet. We're still in the process, but once he gives that okay, I'll be happy to tell you.
Last week when we spoke, Carl, you had mentioned that there were 3 big announcements on the horizon. Are you at liberty to tell me what those are now?
I wish I could. One is with an Indigenous group. I think that's their story to tell. It's an exciting one. I wish I could tell you all the announcements, but we're just not ready to disclose yet. But we'd be very happy once everything matures and sort of ages the way it should. These deals are already signed.
The deal obviously was first announced in September 2021. Obviously, those plans are well documented. They're major investments in the airport, millions of dollars in spending. And, in the months to follow that, we heard about the Vertiport, the partnership there. And we heard, the promise of thousands of jobs and all those things. But we haven't seen that. So we're almost 3 years in now. And what can you tell us about what's happening there in terms of those plans and in terms of the spending?
I can tell you the people on the West Coast, particularly, patience is a virtue, and they got it in spades. They've been so good because we're treated so well in Stephenville by the people. But all these big major projects, especially in this area, are all delayed, sometimes with final investment decisions a year out and things like that. We struggled with the financing for it. We thought it would be significantly easier. We haven't wavered from the plan, though. Like that's the thing. Is like we will be building drones at the airport. We will be having 1,000 jobs because we want to have a world-class airport for all these world-class projects that are coming in.
I recall a conversation you and I had, and you had mentioned that you were talking to several passenger carriers that you were working on deals with now. It's been over a couple of years. What is the status of those talks, and when can we expect to see a passenger service at the airport?
In the fall, before the end of 2024, we will have a passenger service. We have a deal signed with an airline now. We're just waiting for everything to line up with regards to the projects, because there's charter, there's cargo, and there's commercial service. We're working behind the scenes. We have a deal signed for an airline to come in before Christmas. That's our goal by the end of 24 to have passenger service restored, and we will.
Which airline is that?
I can't say yet. It's the other party is because they're publicly traded. They have to disclose. We can't influence market forces like that.
Last week when we spoke, I had mentioned that there are public records that tell us there's a lien filed against the airport for $2.4 million. That was for the runway lighting. What is the status of this? So
we think that's going to be lifted in the next couple of days. We've developed sort of a payment plan with TriStar. They've done incredible work on that airport. That lighting was compliance regulated from Transport Canada. That's one of the most advanced lighting systems in Canada right now. They did good, honest work, and they deserve to be paid for good, honest work. We said our struggles with the financing was a problem, but now that that's resolved, we worked out a payment plan. I expect that lien to be removed in the next couple of days.
You're talking a lot about the investments and getting people on board to help finance these things. When you look at some of the things that have been said and the promises made in the past, you feel that some of those things were said prematurely?
Yeah, they might have been. Yeah, they might have been at the time. We've always thought that we come into this with honesty and integrity. It took a while to get there. Admittedly, absolutely took a while to get there. But the fact of the matter is we're going to open up the West Coast, specifically the Bay St. George region, to commercial traffic again. We've never wavered from that. And we promised as part of that promise that we were never going to take taxpayer dollars to do that. And we've stayed true to that pledge. This has been fully funded. No Newfoundland or Canadian taxpayer has paid for any of these ideas. And maybe that's where the slowdown was, is that, we didn't take anybody's money. We made promises that we intend to keep entirely, but no one's on the hook for what we're doing. I think that's important to stress, is that your tax dollars didn't go towards my idea. My money went towards it, and I ran out of it.
When you speak about taxpayers' dollars, I know that members of Stephenville Town Council have been a champion of the airport and of the sale for almost 3 years now, and I know that they were touting it as a good news day, because the airport will now generate revenue for the town rather than be a financial burden on the town. We haven't heard anything yet of you paying any taxes to the town, but there was talk of a grant in lieu of taxes. What is the status of that?
So traditionally, when airports work with municipalities, they're giving a grant in lieu of taxes, where they pay a significant less amount of taxes, so that money goes into the socioeconomic development of the town. So creating jobs, passenger service. Traditionally, our tax bill with the town and the airport has been over $400,000 a year. Airports like Deer Lake only pay $40,000 to the municipality a year. So what we asked is for a grant in lieu of taxes, where we put in $4,200,000 into the town as a tax, and then the rest is wrote off, so that we take that money and develop jobs and infrastructure around the airport, so that we're not spending all of our money paying taxes. We're spending that money to create more taxpayers, essentially.
So have you paid any of this grant in lieu of taxes yet?
No, we're still negotiating that with them. We're still negotiating that.
And so is there anything there concrete that you can point me to, whether it's with an investor or whether plans that have come to fruition or something that's confirmed, something will take place?
I don't want to prematurely sort of out relationships with people that we're working while we're in that final stage. It's more of a courtesy to them. I would love to tell you everything right now if I could. It's just, I don't want to be a bad partner to those people that we've had these leases and MOUs and commercial agreements with, because it just wouldn't be fair to them. And we don't want to be a bad partner, because we only get a chance at that once. So then the next month, we have 3 major announcements coming out, and it's just coordinating to be in Stephenville at the same time with our partners. We think that's going to be exciting. And people are going to see from that, and with this investment coming in, that the proof is going to be there for everyone to see. Everything that we promised 3 years ago was going to come to fruition. I'm excited for it.
That was Carl Dymond, owner of the airport in Stephenville, speaking there with CBC's Troy Turner.